Welcome back to AutoLooks Online. This week we're looking at the Land Rover Evoque. Okay, this is one of those sort of game changers for Land Rover. One of those things that Ford considered but never did. Sort of like the Freelander. Everyone remembers that? Their weird small sub brand. Yeah, that was originally created by BMW when they held them, but once Ford got a hold of Land Rover, they said, hey, we're missing market share with this small SUV. Let's get it out. Now, that Tata's got them. They're looking at this thing going, how can we make more money off the Range Rover name? How can we change the game? Everyone wants fast, fun SUVs. We got the Range Rover Sport, but, not a lot of people want to pay a massive premium for something that's not much different than the original. Lower windshield, a couple sport features, not much. And then you look at the LR2, you can't do much there. The LR3, no. Defender, well, you're way out to lunch on that thing. So what do they plan to do? Hey, let's use an existing platform and create something wild. Ford had a concept a couple years ago at Detroit, which actually was the Evoque. This weird looking thing with scissor cut doors on it, cab forward design, wild looking, crazy off-roader. We're just thinking like people in Saudi Arabia way out in the desert got a ton of money. These rich sheiks want something fun and fast. Well, since Lamborghini quit producing their SUV way back in the 80s, no one's really had something. You've had to resort to, Audi Q7s and Porsche Boxsters, Cayennes. There's nothing super cool out there. Huh? Land Rover has found it. The only problem is they need to find this thing without a roof. That would be even better. So let's take a look at this thing. Now, they've gone way overboard with this thing. Land Rover has changed their face completely. Everyone remembers boxy looking Land Rovers in the 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s. They were just boxes on wheels. Well, yeah, this thing still got sort of a box appeal to it, just like the new Ford Explorer. But they kind of ironed out some of the major boxy aspects, like headlights, front bumper, and the side. They have added some features on the side. Add a few lines here and there, create a notch. There you go. You're gonna make a lot better looking side. Now, up front, they have a highly raked windshield. That thing is just things hit it and they fly off. That is one fast looking thing. Now, up front, they got their skid plate. Yeah. Definitely needed an SUV. Ground clearance, definitely needed an SUV. Fog lamps with air ducts to make sure the engine could breathe while you're pounding the gas pedal going off-road. And you're going to be able to need to see stuff. Now, why wouldn't you create a large airport right at the front? Okay. Why not? Well, let's take a look at it. If you want to add a bush guard to any vehicle, to any truck, you're going to have this massive air duct in front of the vehicle. What are you going to do? You're going to get it full of mud when you're going off-roading. Well, Land Rover said, hey, we still need some, but let's not go overboard. It still has created this empty spot here, but once you throw a license plate on it, you're good. You're just sailing away. Now, headlight design, there's nothing better. Like, this is one wild-looking headlight design. Wild, crazy. It's new age. It's got the halogen bulbs. It's got the wraparound headlights. Everything. Front grille, Land Rover Classic. Almost like, well, I can't really say like a beehive. But it's just one great-looking grille. Not the biggest, not the best, but hey, it follows the vehicle just massively. Now, looking over to the hood, they have added some air ducts rid of the hood, make it so you can, get rid of that hot air that's building up your engine base so you don't overheat your vehicle. Added to that, they have created a wild-looking hood design. They have added the bump in the center, which actually does flow all the way down to the front grille. This thing, it doesn't go overboard because it doesn't sit like 6-7 inches way above the hood. It sits in a perfect, nice level scale. Kind of giving that sport appeal, also giving that badass appeal. Looking onto the side, Land Rover does have their body line. I find it does start a little bit low. Like it does shoot up really fast. So it looks like the vehicle's moving fast. It looks like it's kind of cab forward, but they could have started a little bit higher just so it doesn't look like the wheel wells are way off. Now, this side duct, I don't know. Land Rover's been doing this with a lot of vehicles. Same with Buick. Some of the car companies have been getting into these things. Now, they're nice, but they're only nice when they're integrated right into the design of the vehicle. If they're just kind of thrown there, like, well, take a look at the Buick ones. It's a hunk of plastic that looks like it's just thrown on the side of the vehicle. You can't do that. You have to actually cut it right inside the vehicle. Land Rover has done this. They did an amazing job. Now, moving on to the rear of this thing, what do we see? We see some space age looking SUV with a very small back window. Okay, backing this thing up I find would be a pain in the ass. Why? Because it's such a small window. Looks really cool because when you get those skinny little windows along the side, it makes it look like it's fast. It looks kind of like a mob vehicle. Kind of cool, no one can see what's in there. But you know what? When you have a small window like that at the back, it's very hard to see it. And Land Rover did one fatal move, which kind of sealed in the fate of backing this thing up. They had this weird looking spoiler. It goes with the vehicle. The problem is, you can actually tell that it was added on after. Why? Well, let me see. It's cut here. It hangs off the back window. Take this thing off. Add a tiny little lip spoiler to the top of the roof. Integrated right into the design. You'll have something that looks good. This thing is added on. It's an aftermarket modification that Land Rover seemed to add it onto it that really doesn't suit the vehicle. Now, taillights, pretty plain, pretty boring, but they're still kind of neat. They go with the design. Back end, the problem is the fact that it's such a tall space. Because of the short windows, you created this tall space. Like, your license plate kind of covers this area, but you get this empty area right here. There's nothing in it. Now, if they brought their window down just a slight bit, you bring this down to about here, it won't make it so the rear end of the vehicle is that big. Kind of make it appear that it's, everything's in line with each other. Now, they do have a skid plate at the rear end of this vehicle, which does go along with the SUV design. Now, it is a Land Rover. It does have to go off-road, being that there's only 2 SUV companies in the world that actually build vehicles that are destined to go off-road. That is Land Rover and Jeep. Why? Because if it doesn't pass their camps, it doesn't get built. And with Land Rover, they've never really had any vehicles that have come close. Jeep, well, if you own a Liberty, let's just say, Patriot is better at off-roading than the Liberty. Compass, I don't think that path gets cheap at all. Now, for this thing, they have integrated the exhaust into it. The only problem is it's sitting way too low. You kind of picture this thing, you would think the exhaust would be right here. Put the exhaust right there, bring the skid plate up a little bit, make the back end look a little bit shorter. You don't have such a tall ass end of this thing. Now, as for rims, Land Rover has gone with some decent-looking city-style rims. These things wouldn't be that great on the off-road circuit, but cruising around the city, you'll look pretty badass in this cool-looking vehicle. Now, overall, out of 10, I'm giving this thing a 9. Why? Everything is pretty much up to date on this thing. It is one wild, cool-looking two-door SUV, and the world needs more two-door SUVs. If everyone remembers, big SUVs just always come in two-door. We get the two-door Yukons, the two-door Ram Chargers, and everyone remembers the Bronco. They're all two-door. It wasn't until the 90s when moms started buying them as grocery getters that we started adding 4 doors to them, just like pickup trucks. They used to all be 2 doors. If you had a club cab, it meant you just dragged your kids along occasionally. Now, if you have a 2-door truck, it means you're just too poor to get a 4-door one because you have no friends. 2-door SUV, this is one of those badass things that you and your girlfriend, you and just a couple of the guys, throw a bunch of shit in and go out for the weekend. Okay? Now, for this week, all I have to say about the Land Rover Evoque, this is one badass thing that's coming on the market from Land Rover, and let's just say, it's going to turn some heads, and it's also going to change the way we see SUVs. Okay? This thing was built to go off-road, but also built for the city. When you can accomplish that, You got the makings of one great product.